One of the main benefits of the new iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max range is the fact that you can now record externally onto an SSD drive via the USB-C port in Apple Lock. And that's great for content creators and independent filmmakers. The problem is that the file sizes are huge. And this is where coming up with solutions to record externally onto an SSD drive come really handy. And for SSD drive, I use a Crucial X6 4TB hard drive. This is tiny, it weighs absolutely nothing, and it's been proven very reliable. I've never had a single dropout. I edit from this, and at 4 TB, I mean, you can't go wrong with this. The first thing that we're gonna do is obviously we're gonna take advantage of the MagSafe, and we're gonna try and simply slap the drive onto the back of the phone. Now, obviously, there is a distance between the port and the hard drive, and for that, what I use is this USB-C adapters. This is a 90-degree angle USB-C, and in there I put a USB-C to USB-C, male to male, and I could literally just attach this here and mount the USB-C there. If you are someone that wants something really quick and easy, you could literally just roll with it. I mean, as it is, it's already stable, but it wobbles a bit. To compensate for that, all I need to do is add this little USB-C extension. Now locks onto the MagSafe, and this is going nowhere. This is rock solid. And you literally just got a 4 TB external drive. To stick this drive onto the MagSafe, I bought these MagSafe stickers or metal ring that you can buy off Amazon. The challenge of this is that if you use something like a Sherpa kit, okay, it comes with a handle. If you want to do handheld work, obviously that's not gonna work because you cannot mount it. So what you need to do is mount your Sherpa kit. It could be any other handle that any other manufacturer does. So let's say that you got it here and then you want to do some handheld. So what you can do is get yourself a right angle USB-C that goes there. And now we still attach this to the MagSafe, but now we can then connect it, and just like that, you got your 4 TB SSD drive, and it's really solid. Another solution that you might want to apply is to have a right angle USB-C port that you can then attach the SSD drive to the MagSafe and also connect it to the drive. And that's your 4 TB drive onto the MagSafe. The challenge with all of this is that you may be using a phone mount. So instead of mounting the phone like this, that obviously blocks the MagSafe, you just slide it and mount it on one of the ends, and the phone is still gonna be solid on your tripod, but you get access to the MagSafe. You got this other right angle USB-C cable that will give you the same functionality. So that's really good, and you can mount this onto a tripod, film, and no problem. The next solution is where we start to get a little bit creative, because you don't need an SSD drive in order to record Apple Log out of your smartphone. You could just use an SD card. What you can record and how you record it, it depends on the data transfer rates and the speed of your recording media. You are not gonna be able to record at the same resolutions for the same amount of time. On an SSD drive, you can pretty much record non-stop, and as long as you don't leave it running for 1 hour, you're not gonna have a problem. If you record on an SD card, this is where you need to start using a different app than the default camera app. And I would recommend the Blackmagic camera app, because what's so great about this camera app is that it allows you to record Apple Log on H.264 and H.265. What this means is that you're gonna have much smaller file sizes and much more manageable. And this is when filming on an SD card becomes practical. If what you want to do is B-roll or small clips of maybe 15 seconds, 30 seconds, up to a minute, you're not going to have a problem, and you can review those real time on the media section in the Blackmagic camera app. So this is a win-win situation. You have this Apple USB-C to SD card reader, or you have this other one from Anker that is a dongle and it attaches directly onto the USB-C, which is probably what I would be more inclined to use because it's a lot more manageable and you don't have anything dangling off the phone or having to force the angle of the SD card onto the phone and then attaching it, you are forcing the cable and eventually it's gonna get damaged. But you could have a little bit of Velcro here and a little bit of Velcro on the case, and this sticks like this and it would be really, really nice. But the dongle is even better because there is nothing dangling off the phone and you literally have your entire phone to use and abuse in whichever way you want, whether it is on a tripod, on a handle mount, you have that flexibility. The one that I'm most excited about is this concept of recording onto micro pen drives. And I thought I would be able to record onto a micro SD card. This is a SanDisk String Pro 1 terabyte, but you need at least 220 megabits per second read and write speeds in order to work with the iPhone 15 Pro Max. So this is up to 200 megabits per second and it's not gonna work. But if you get yourself a dedicated pen drive that can handle that data speed, and I'll leave a couple of links in the video description for 1 terabyte pen drives for around $80, which is a lot less than what you're gonna pay for an SSD drive, this should work. And it's so simple. You just pop it onto your phone and off you go. It doesn't get in the way. You can use handles, you can do anything. And then once you finish, you take it out, stick it onto your laptop, download it, and then pop it back on in no time. This concept is really, really handy. Just remember that whatever drive that you use in this configuration needs to be at least 220 megabits per second, but you want something that is a lot more than that. If you need to match to a Sony or Canon camera, well, yeah, it makes sense that you have that additional resolution to play with if you have your iPhone as a third camera or fourth camera angle. In that regard, I would say that it's justified to be filming on a ProRes codec, but most people are gonna be using the iPhones to film for social media, for delivering on YouTube. And trust me when I tell you, nobody's gonna notice. Up to 70 or 75% of people that watch YouTube content and social media content, they do it on smartphones. So even if you shoot in Apple ProRes, they're not gonna be able to see that difference. So essentially, it all comes down to you and what you wanna do and how you wanna do it. If you're gonna be doing long takes and A-roll, I would still recommend that you use an SSD drive because this is really reliable, it's really inexpensive, and you can fit hours of footage in here. If you're gonna be doing a small short clips, B-roll up to 15, 30 seconds, might push it up to a minute. This is a really neat solution. You can also have an SD card reader that takes no space at all either, because what this means is that you don't have to worry about carrying an SSD drive with cables and potentially things dangling or falling off, depending on what accessories you might have. I've been testing all of the 3 solutions and they all work fine, but this concept is the most convenient. And I will be buying one of the pen drives that I leave a link in the video description below because this is very convenient. It's so tiny, it doesn't get in the way, and I don't need to worry about where I put the drive or whether there is any issues with the case or the cage or the handle for that matter. And if you use a case from Freewell, for instance, which is another range of really good smartphone accessories, they have their own magnetic lenses and filters. And sometimes sticking an SSD drive onto the actual MagSafe becomes a bit of an exercise because things don't quite line up because of the size of those lenses and filters. Whereas a solution like this is really neat and simple. You stick a pen drive onto the USB-C port and off you go, or an SD card reader with an SD card and off you go. There is a very strong case for using the SSD drive because you can just plug your drive onto your computer and start editing right away. You don't have to worry about downloading data from one memory card or one pen drive or one SD card onto your computer. You could also have all 3 options available to you because they're relatively inexpensive, and then over time decide which one suits better your needs. That's something that only you can decide, because if you want to record Apple log internally onto your phone, at ProRes, it's just gonna be unmanageable. And if you are part of a collaborative project where you're gonna be filming with other people, you don't really want to be giving your phone to someone and potentially browsing your photos and videos, whereas you can just give them an SSD drive or an SD card and they can just go off, download it, and you don't need to worry about, you know, data on your phone or privacy issues or having whatever photos you have on your phone I hope that you enjoyed this video, that I've given you some alternative solutions to filming with the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max. I'll be doing a few videos in the coming weeks around the iPhone 15 Pro Max in particular. So if this is something that you like, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.